helped the HGTV crew. He helped facilitate the moving of all the decorations in the boxes and everything like that. So he was telling us how grand this was, and I was just really excited. And I thought, I would love to go do that. Well, he made the mistake of saying, well, if you really want to do that, in September, you can go online and you can apply. And after you apply, call me, and I'll call out there and tell them you're applying. So sometimes it pays to know people in the right places. So whenever on October 10th, when I got home from work, Scott said, hey, you got some email from the White House. I said, no, are you kidding me? And so I was so excited, so I ran over and waited for the computer to boot up. Oh, come on, come on, come on. And actually, earlier that day, my sister had sent me a text and said, I didn't get in, because she also applied. So I was a little sad about that. Then I heard I got one. I was very excited. And so I read it, and they were inviting me to come out and help decorate the White House for Christmas. So then I got a text from my other friend, Sarah Claycomb. I don't know if anyone knows her. She's from Bethany. She also applied. We really wanted to go out there as a trio, do it together, have all kinds of fun. But it didn't work out that way. She was denied also. So I was like, oh, Scott, I feel so bad. I feel bad that I got in, probably because Adam gave me my name. My sister's been a florist for 30 years. So she was just a little salty. Up until Thanksgiving Day, she was salty. All in good humor, though. But because she is so good at what she does, and I just so want her to have that opportunity. So hopefully someday she'll get to go out there and do that. But as we went back and forth, and I said, oh, I just don't know that I can do that without them. And Scott says, really, Cindy? This is like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing. And I said, yeah, it is. It is. And it would be really rude to reject an invitation from the First Lady of the United States. So I sent in all my information, and we booked our flights, and Scott agreed to go with me so that I wouldn't have to travel by myself. And I can travel by myself. I do it for work all the time, but it's just not nearly as much fun as if you have someone there with you. So we were going to fly out on Thanksgiving Day. We told the girls. At the time we found out, Briley was in Maine, Sadie, of course, was in Cape Girardeau. They were like, you're not going to be home for Thanksgiving? I said, nope, you're on your own, chicks. So they went to my sister's house, and they were all kind of salty at me together. But we left and went to the airport. Everything was great. Got to Washington, D.C. One very valuable lesson that I learned, and maybe some of you have experienced this before. When you travel on Thanksgiving Day, always eat at the airport. It's not crowded. Our planes were not full. Because when you get to your destination, none of the restaurants are open. We had granola bars for supper in Washington, D.C. But we had a great time. We were thrilled to be there. Scott went to several of the museums while I was decorating at the White House, and proudly wearing my apron. I'm going to show you a quick video, and then we'll just kind of go from there, and if you want to ask questions, and we'll just fill in the blanks. just some of the pictures and have me talk about them?
Yeah.
Okay. It was absolutely wonderful. Let me tell you this before I sit back down and just kind of walk through some pictures. My very favorite part, and they may have said this in the paper, I haven't read that article yet, but with meeting the people that I got to do this with. It was so much fun. Total strangers, you know, a few people knew each other. There were a few people that had been doing this for years. One gentleman, and if you watch the special tonight on HGTV, one of the gentlemen that helps bring the gingerbread house out, he's been doing it for 29 years. He's a retired Marine. He worked at the White House and decorated for Christmas. And he was just a joyous man. We stood in line to get to the reception. We stood in line for like an hour and a half in the rain, but we did it. That's why my hair doesn't look real good on that day. But he was behind us. And so we just chattered with him and his stories and his enthusiasm and his patriotism. It was just incredible. It was just infectious to see that. There are three other people actually, that impacted me while I was out there. Well, more than that, but I became friends with three other people. We did the lights together. Doing the lights is the grunt job, which I'm okay with that, because we all had the same mindset. We aren't professional decorators. We just really love Christmas, and we'll do whatever it takes. You know, if you want me to sweep the floor, clean the toilets, we'll do it. I'm good with that. We're there. We're in the White House. And so we did the first day, whenever we found out that we got to go to the West Wing, that's when we kind of all gelled. We were in the Blitzen group, and they said, okay, you guys, you're the only group. Bad news is they're not going to see anything you do on TV. HGTV is not going to the West Wing. They cannot film anything in there. That's private. So, okay. What are we going to do? So we went through another security, and so we walked from the ground floor of the main house over to the West Wing, and it was absolutely wonderful. It was the most exciting thing I think I've ever done. As we were going through there, and my friends Jay and Kathleen and Marion, we were all kind of four of us there together, just like little kids, just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're doing this. And we were like, we've seen this on TV. We've seen the president walk through here. We've seen him go through here and be interviewed. This is like his territory. I mean, it was just awe-inspiring. And we had to go through another security door. And once we got to the West Wing, we could go nowhere without an escort, including the bathroom. Somebody went with us everywhere. We were not allowed to wander around freely. We were watched the whole time, which I was good with that. So we get to the lobby, and we say, okay, the National Park Service, I think it is, maybe Forestry, I don't know. They bring in the tree, so they put it up. They make it perfect. It's just beautiful. We're standing there watching. And she said, okay, we need some volunteers to put lights on this tree. And we're like, everybody kind of stood there going, oh, this doesn't sound like a fun job, but no one really stepped up. And that's when myself and Marion, Jay and Kathleen, along with a young lady named Stacy and another lady named Diane, we stepped forward and said, we'll put the lights on the tree. We can do that. And they were very meticulous on how you put the lights on the tree. I put one strand of lights on 3 times because I didn't do it correctly. So I did learn how to put lights on the tree. And it took us to light that tree. I was trying to compare it to how big it was. It wasn't as tall as that tallest tree, but it was bigger around. It took the 6 of us 6 hours to put the lights on the tree, but they looked perfect, and it was beautiful. So we did that, and then the professional decorators, the people who they actually volunteer also, but this is what they do for their living, and they're good. I've looked at them on Facebook and thought, oh my gosh, the things they do, it was just incredible. They were good, and so they went in and they got all the decorations on and everything, and so we'd finished for the day in the West Wing, and my friends Jay, Kathleen, and Marion is a retired Marine. She retired after 20 years. She works for Amtrak now. Jay is a kindergarten teacher from Kentucky, and he'd been teaching kindergarten for 20 years also. Kathleen lived in Virginia, and she was the office manager for her husband's medical practice. He's a plastic surgeon. She looked really good, but she claims she didn't. It's like, yeah, right, Kathleen. And you say you're 50? No, she was sweet. We had a great time. And the passion that they had for what they were doing, and the gratitude that they felt, and their patriotism, and their love for Christmas, and all of that. It was just wonderful, just absolutely wonderful. And so the next day, we went back and put the final touches on the tree in the lobby. One young man, Brandon, who I took a picture of him in the video. He's in there. He's standing in front of a Christmas tree in the cross hall, and he has a glass of champagne in his hand. And he is a professional decorator from Chattanooga, Tennessee. And he created the most beautiful garland that goes up over the doorway and down into the west entrance of the White House. And this is where all the special guests come through. And we have no pictures of it, but it was just absolutely beautiful. He was so passionate about what he was doing, and he wanted everything absolutely perfect. And it was just beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. So the next day, we went back, put the finishing touches on it, looked at Brandon's work, and just thought it was great. What are we going to do now? You know, this was pretty good. What's going to top this? Well, when we came over, we carried boxes of ornaments and lights and things. I, not being as dumb as some people think I am, read the boxes. Oval Office. It's got to go somewhere good. So I grabbed my Oval Office box, and Kathleen and Jay were standing right there. Marion was behind us a little bit. I said, Oval Office, let's get these. Let somebody else pack the lights. So we did, and all we wanted was to be able to look in the Oval Office, just to see it. We've all seen it on TV. We've seen past presidents sitting on the couches in front of that beautiful fireplace, and we've seen all the flags and the big desk, and we just want to see it. We wanted to see it for our own eyes. And we thought, okay, if we pack these boxes up there, where do you want these boxes to go? Oh, we have no idea. Oh, they say Oval Office? So we were standing outside the Oval Office with our boxes, and the security guard says, okay, you can put those down right there. Okay, and we're still standing there. He's like, what are you guys doing? We're just waiting to be told what to do. And so our leader, Mandy, she was running around there getting everybody organized, and she's like, okay, just stay right here a minute. And he's like kind of laughing at us because we're just chattering about where we are, what we're doing, and we're outside the Oval Office. He said, do you want to look inside the Oval Office? We're like, yeah. He's like, don't step over the doorway, but I can let you look in. And so there we were. By this time there were 6 of us, and we were all just like standing in the doorway, as squeezed together as close as we could, so we could just take in that view of the Oval Office. The desk, the chairs, President Trump's chair. You know, you would think he would get a new chair whenever he took presidency. No, he brought his office chair from his office in New York. And the furniture was perfect. There was a bust of Abraham Lincoln. The flags were all the way around the room. It was just breathtaking. And we thought, okay, we're good. Where do you want us to go now? And so Mandy came back and said, okay, I can't get everyone into the Oval Office at the same time. We can only have so many in there at once. So if you want to put lights on this Christmas tree, you can do that. Because I have professionals that are kind of come in and decorate. You will not get to decorate it, just so you know. Okay, we're good. We are a professional light crew. She said, I haven't got it approved yet, but wait right here. And so we're standing outside of, I believe, the Roosevelt room. I never got to look in that room. And then the office of the gentleman who's over like the social media for the president. And so we're standing there and we're in a circle and we're like, gosh, this would be so fun if we could just get to do this, just to go in there and do this for the president. You know, he's the one that's going to get to see it all the time. And just to look, we wanted to stand next to the windows and look out on the south lawn from the Oval Office. Who gets to do that, right? And so we were standing there in a circle and somebody said, I think we should just pray. I was like, okay, I'm good with that. And so we all just stood there and silently prayed. And we'd been standing there like that for about 30 seconds. And here came Mandy running down the hall. You're in, you're in, you're in. Come on, let's go. You can go with the lights on the tree. And we were just thrilled, absolutely thrilled. So we go in and they said, the first thing they said to us, they asked us our names. They wrote it down in the official log. Anyone that goes in, they have to write their name down. Okay, that's good. Security guards were so nice throughout the whole trip. And so they said, don't touch anything. You cannot touch the furniture. You cannot touch the pictures on the wall. You cannot touch any of the artwork sitting around. Nothing. Do not touch anything. So that was kind of hard. But we didn't touch any. I didn't touch anything. My friend Jay, the school teacher, he touched the desk like that. He's like, you didn't see me touch it? And I said, no, I didn't see you touch it. I can't believe you touched it. I did. So we rolled back the Reagan rug. We moved the Christmas tree over so that we wouldn't knock off the bust of Lincoln that was sitting on this beautiful table. And we started wiring that lights on that tree. And it took us about 4 hours. And so when we were done, the professional decorators came in and they said, you'll probably never see it decorated because nobody was supposed to take any pictures. Somebody took a picture and put it on Instagram, and that's how we got the picture of what the tree looked like. But it was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience just to get to be in the Oval Office and see that. And pretty exciting. Exciting stuff. Okay, I will quit jabbering and I'll pull up some pictures. Do you have questions just to kind of get us started?
Yeah, I do. Tell them about the tree for the veterans, didn't you?
Oh, the Gold Star tree. After we finished in the Oval Office, our next assignment was to help with the Gold Star tree. What an honor that is, because there were 2 mothers that had lost their sons and 2 widows that were working on the Gold Star tree. So if that wasn't a tearjerker, I mean, it really got to your heart, and that they were putting cardinals on the tree and stars. And so because since we are the lighting people, we started helping them with the lights because this is a huge tree. And one guy, Eric, he'd been working on it and not having very much help at all. And he was from Phoenix, super nice guy. He was retired Navy. And so we jumped in and helped him. And so the 2 widows and the 2 mothers were all 4 there at the same time. And so we were just working. We really weren't paying a whole lot of attention. Well, if they had like 5 strands of lights plugged in, and then 5 more strands of lights plugged in to one little power strip, and there was a lot of tension on that, and so I'm like, that's going to come apart. We've got to figure out some other way to keep these lights on, because this is not working. So we were finding another extension cord and another power strip to put in the tree, and so we were getting all of that worked on. So I am like clear into the trunk of the tree, like this, standing on a ladder, and here comes the HGTV crew. So if you happen to see me on TV,
we won't know your face.
you probably won't see my face. But anyway, I'm in the tree trying to work on these plugs and get this extension cord threaded through all the branches. All these trees are real, and they're just beautiful, and they smell so good. And so one of the widows is placing her star on the tree, and she says, I told my daughter when I came here, I was going to put a star on the tree for her dad. And I'm like going, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm in this tree because I'm going to cry, And she's tearing up, and the other young lady that was a widow, she put her star on there. And she had been married for 3 months, and her husband was deployed and had been killed. And so, I mean, you just feel for those women and what they have gone through. And they both put a star on the tree, and they both put a cardinal on the tree for their husbands. And you talk about the ultimate sacrifice. We all have it pretty easy. We have nothing in this world to complain about compared to what some other people have gone through and have done for us, so that we can have the freedom to live here and enjoy our lives. So that, for me, that was such an emotional time. And Kathleen and Jay and I are over there wiring, and Mary, and she was clear down on underneath helping the ladies with the skirt, and so I didn't make eye contact with her, but we were all just like, oh my gosh, this is real. This is where we need to be for Christmas, you know, this is something that we can do. So it was good. It was a good time.
What was the red trees made out of?
The red trees are started out as styrofoam, just like green styrofoam you make an arrangement out of, except they were great big, and they just put them together and made big cones. Then they painted them red, and then they took strands of berries, just your stems of berries, and they placed them on there individually and stuck them in with a little piece of wire. Every stem. Yeah, it took them like 6 people worked on those for 6 days. And they're just beautiful. And I don't know if you've noticed in any of the pictures, or if you've looked at any of the pictures, they put green carpet down in that corridor just to make those trees pop. And it's just wonderful. And you can look out, you have those trees, and you look out and you can see, you know, the south lawn and the monuments around it. It was just really, really cool. The view from the White House inside. So, yeah, that was very cool. So I was really disappointed when people were trashing them on Facebook and stuff. And I'm like, really? You should have came and helped. So that was a tough job. But, did you have a question?
I was just gonna ask about that nativity scene. Was it made like out of porcelain or?
I think it was. I mean, it was so ornate, and I really wanted to get up close to it and look at it, really close, but they had, you could only get so close. So I stood there and looked at it for a long time. It took me forever to find baby Jesus, but I did locate him. He was up higher. But this young man was trying to take a picture of the nativity, and I was standing there looking at it. He looked to be maybe mid-20s, nicely dressed in a suit, had his phone out and trying to take a picture, and he had a plate of food, and he was trying to take a selfie with the nativity in the background, and I was kind of laughing at him. I said, you want me to help you with that picture? And he's like, would you take my picture, please? I said, yes, I would. He said, my mom's going to love this. I said, of course. I said, okay, go stand over here. I straightened up his coat and his tie, and he's standing there with his plate of food, and I have his phone. I said, give me your food. Your mother does not want that in the picture. So I took his picture, and then he turned around and took my picture on my phone. So, everybody that was there, we were all volunteers in some aspect to the White House. Some of us decorated for Christmas. There were 200 of us that did that. 100 of the people approximately came before Thanksgiving, and 100 after Thanksgiving. The people before Thanksgiving had to go to the warehouse and get the boxes of ornaments and sort through all the ornaments and put wire on all the ornaments, because every ornament and every ribbon is wired on. They're not just hung on the tree. They are wired on. So that's part of the reason why it took so long. Oh, and the lights, they were wired on too. You would wrap your lights starting from the trunk, go clear down the branch, try to make it so that it ended with a light on the end, and then wrap it back down. And then if you had any little danglies, little swags from the wire, you reached into your pocket, pulled out a piece of wire, and twisted it on so that there were no dangling wires. Everything looked fluid. So it was very fun. That was cool. Any other questions? Did I answer your question? I kind of got wound up.
I suppose there is a main coordinator for all of this.
Yes,
that
there
There's got to
is.
be a plan And then all these things are gone from there, so there's one person that.
There is. Back in June, the First Lady meets with her designer, and they sketch out a plan of what they want it to look like and what all the different rooms are. And so they go through each and every room.
Great.
And the young man that was the lead designer was super nice. You know, you would think that he'd be like, oh, I'm the lead designer, I'm way up here. He would come in and talk to you about what you were doing and ask you questions and, you know, make suggestions. This needs to be here, this needs to be here. Or you try to hang something up. So I'll give this to one guy. He tried to put it up there and he's like, no, that's not right. Let's just try this. And he's like, get down off that ladder and I'll go up there. And he got up there and fixed it. Said, okay, this is what I want. And, you know, and then he came back and was very complimentary to the people who were doing the real decorating, and he was so sweet. When I left the reception, I was walking out, and he was standing over on the sidewalk, and I just went up to him and I said, Nick, thank you so much for doing this. You've made this experience just absolutely wonderful. I said, can I have a picture with you? And he said, why, sure. Are you serious? Do you want a picture with me? I said, yeah, I would like to have your picture. And he's like, I said, you know, this is big time for a small town girl from Missouri. And he said, you know what? I'm a small town boy from Utah. So he was super, super nice, but that's where it starts, is in June.
So do the major decorators apply to be accepted? And
Yes.
send in
Well,
because of the work, or?
I think that Nick probably was chosen. But the other, like Mandy, that was my lead, she'd been doing it for like 5 years. But she has to apply also. And they had, I believe there were like 8 or 10 teams. And so each of those teams had a lead designer. And they were given specific instructions on how things needed to be. And there were a few times where we were like, we don't like that. Oh, that doesn't look right. But that's what they wanted, and that's how it needed. That's how it was. So that's fine. We were there to carry out the orders, so that was how it was. But, you know, in looking at the different people, like I said earlier, on Facebook and what they do, it's just wonderful. I mean, this so much different than what our typical decorations look like. It's really over the top, so it's kind of fun. Oh my gosh, the food was wonderful. Breakfast was Dunkin' Donuts. I love Dunkin' Donuts. And you know, you could have oatmeal or yogurt or fruit or something like that, but I just had Dunkin' Donuts and a few grapes. That's a treat, 'cause, you know, we don't get Dunkin' Donuts around here. But we ate our meals in the state dining room. You know, that was just incredible to think who all has sat in this room and eaten a meal. And there over at the fireplace is the official portrait of Abraham Lincoln. It's like, are you kidding me? I'm in here with Lincoln, you know? It was just amazing. Lunches were really good. The Friday after Thanksgiving, we had, you know, turkey and ham sandwiches, but this wasn't like turkey and ham sandwiches at my house. They were cute little rolls, and the ham and the turkey were displayed so beautifully, and all of these wonderful salads that had vegetables in them that I really didn't even know what they were, but I ate them anyway. It was really good. And so that was fun. And then one day we had chili and grilled cheese sandwiches for lunch, and they had some other soups also. So I'm like, I'm eating the grilled cheese in the White House. And I had to laugh. When we walked in, they had a little, it was the old family dining room, and it's off the state dining room. And that's where they had the buffet line set up. And there were a few tables in there. And so here's the Secret Service guy sitting at this table with another Secret Service lady. And they're in full gear. I mean, they had like on their bulletproof vests and their handguns and everything. And he's eating his grilled cheese sandwich. You know, I was like, this is kind of funny. And then I look down, and he has his, I don't know what kind of gun it is, big one that looks like it holds lots of bullets. And it's in the case right beside him. You know, no big deal. It was kind of, I thought it was kind of funny that he was sitting there eating his grilled cheese just like everybody else.
But did they give you specific instructions in case there was an emergency?
No,
Oh, really?
no. I think that they are so trained on what to do in case of an emergency, they would have just taken us, because like I said, there was somebody with us at all times. So, I mean, I never felt threatened or, unsafe at all. It was pretty fun. My last food story, one day we had, codfish for lunch, fried codfish. And I thought, that'll probably be good, And the guy brought it out on a platter and set it down. And someone in front of me, and I don't know who it was, said, "Did you make that?" And he said, "Yes, I did." He said, "I've been cooking the same codfish for 45 years. And every president that has been in this White House has eaten this codfish." So, I mean, to think that he'd been there that long, and the serving staff was so fun, and they were so nice and so accommodating. So that was, that was kind of fun.
So did you all stay at a specific motel?
They had a block of rooms reserved at the Kimpton Motel. They didn't pay, we had to pay for
Did they
our
pick
own.
you up and take you?
They
there?
picked us up on coach buses and took us over to go through security. And you had to go through security every day, show them your ID, then you had to go through and do the body scan, and they scanned your purses and everything. We had to leave our cell phones in the coat room, we couldn't take cell phones with us while we were decorating. Now, when we went to the reception, we could take pictures and we could take our cell phones with us. When we went to the reception, we stood in line forever, which was fine because we all just chatted and had a good time. And then we walked in, and one security guard checked our ID, and then we walked a ways. And then the next security guard checked our ID again and checked us off the list. So they did that twice. Then we wandered through a little bit further, and we had to walk through this building. And I wasn't paying attention. I was just walking through, and they were telling me where to walk. Well, there was a dog that was there that was, I don't know what they smell for, but I made it through. So, but behind us, about 10 people, the dog sat down when somebody walked through. And so that stopped the whole line, and everyone from, I don't know what they did with that person, but everyone from their back got pushed clear out of the building, clear back to a little holding area, and we were standing in line. And so after you went through, if you made it past the dog, then you went on through another door, and you had to put your purse down, and they scanned that. You didn't have to take your shoes off, which I was really glad, because I had on really high heels, and I took a pair of high heels. And I was really dreading, oh gosh, if I have to take my shoes off, this is going to be an ordeal. But I didn't, so I was glad. So I put my purse down, and you go through the body scan, just like you do at the airport. And after you go through that, and they say you're okay, then they put the wand all over you, just for extra security, I guess. And then you were in. So it just took a while. When we walked up from that point, we had to walk up to the east entrance, and there was the military band playing in the Circle Drive. Just sounded spectacular. And then you walked from there you walk up to the east corridor where the red trees were, and that's where they had coat check, and that was where the White House Theater was. And when you walk in the east entrance, the first thing you see is the Gold Star tree. So, I mean, that's just beautiful. So then you walk on up, you walk through the red berries, and then there were the three gentlemen standing there with trays of wine and champagne. And they were just so handsome in their tuxedos, and there was a lady playing the violin and a gentleman playing the guitar, and the beautiful tree, and all of the cards that past president, not all of them, but I don't know how far back it went, but that past presidential families had sent out Christmas cards. They had them all framed and on the wall. Just beautiful. And then you walk on, and at this point you're on the ground level. And so then you walk down this hallway, and there's the library on one side, and the Vermeil room on one side, and the China room. And there's another one, I can't remember what it was called. And then in that hallway, they have all of the pictures of the first ladies, their official portraits in that hallway. And they were just gorgeous. And I have to tell this story, and whatever your political preferences are, I respect them. I'm a Republican. My parents are Democrats. We do not talk politics at their house. My parents love Hillary Clinton, so that's why I had my picture taken in front of Hillary Clinton's photo. I'm giving it to her for Christmas.
She will be thrilled.
But, you know, that was beautiful. We got to watch them start making the gingerbread house, you know, right after we got there. When we were on our first trip to the West Wing, you know, as if we aren't excited enough, out walks the head pastry chef, and I only knew that that was a head pastry chef because my friend Jay here was a huge history buff, and he knew everything about everything, and he said, she's the head pastry chef. I saw her on the special last year. And she had a tray of little windows and the little wreaths that were on them that went on the gingerbread house. And so it was beautiful. And if you watch that show tonight, you can see the gingerbread house, and it has the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Monument, the White House, the Washington Memorial, and then it has the Capitol. And in the Jefferson and in the Lincoln memorials, they're actually in there, just like they are, you know, as a replica of what you see. So I was pretty impressed that someone could do a little Lincoln, you know. And it was beautiful. It was just beautiful.
What time is it? HGTV.
Comes on at 5.
Are you in our time?
Oh, who knows?
Our time or their time?
Our time.
Did you get a Christmas ornament from the White House or anything like that?
I bought one, which is this year's ornament.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought one. But no, they didn't give us one. But it's funny, this year it's dedicated to Harry S. Truman.
Oh.
So I thought, well, that's fun. That was nice of them to do that for me. But I think we're just about, well, it's a quarter till, so.
Is it?
Um,
Some individual pictures.
do you want to look at some pictures?
Because that video,
Went too fast. Yeah. Riley made it. She's young. She doesn't think about it. She did wonderful, but did you have a question?
Cindy, when I was there many years ago, there was a lady out in front of the White House gates that lived in Polk like a tent, and she was grandfathered in, and they couldn't make her move. She's still there?
I don't know. But there are people that stay in that park across from the White House and protest all the time. There's one guy I know that's been there for like 20 years.
She's right up against the fence that goes into the White House.
See, there's nothing up against the fence to the White House.
She, and, you know, I don't even know if she's still alive anymore.
Yeah,
But
it,
we talked to her and I had a picture of her.
yeah. There, I didn't see anything like that. The lady that was our lead designer, Mandy, she got to decorate the private residence and the Blair House. So the Blair House is where the Bushes stayed when it's across the street from the White House, and that's the guest house. So that was kind of cool. She was really excited about that. So, I know I was excited about the lights. She was excited about that.
Will you decorate my tree next year?
Sure. Sure. We may have to do it like in October, so I can.
Mine's
Yeah. I just got mine done yesterday. So. Just takes time. Let me just pull up a few pictures and we'll kind of walk through it. The blue room is a beautiful room in the White House. Let's see, I was trying to think where we should start.
gonna do that?